Okay, Kathy and I are very honored to and proud to introduce for the month of October, our friend Sheldon will lead us through the meeting. Sheldon, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thanks, Howard. Hi, everybody. My name is Sheldon F. I'm an alcoholic. It's a privilege to get to come and share with you guys my experience with the big book. It's nice to, as they say, be preaching to the choir, to be talking to people about the big book Alcoholics Anonymous that I love and I know each of you love also. So we're on chapter 7, Working with Others, page 89, and I'm just going to jump right in there. It says practical experience shows that nothing will so much ensure immunity from drinking as intensive work with other alcoholics. It works when other activities fail. And I've always appreciated Bill's bluntness. And he says nothing will ensure immunity from drinking as intensive work with other alcoholics. It is the thing that if I am willing to do, if I'm willing to give my time to help other alcoholics, that will give me the best chance of defeating my alcoholism and being able to stay sober. In fact, it goes on to say it works when other activities fail. It works when going to meetings fails. You don't hear it as much anymore, but when I got sober, there were people that would pound the podium and say, "We're killing people in Alcoholics Anonymous these days. The fellowship doesn't get people sober. You can't get sober on the fellowship." And I think it's true that you can't get sober on the fellowship alone, but as my good friend says, a lot of meetings makes it easy. A few meetings makes it hard, and no meetings makes it impossible. And every time you've ever heard anybody saying that the fellowship or meetings aren't going to help you stay sober, they're usually saying that at a meeting. But when going to meetings alone isn't enough, when praying alone isn't enough, when calling your sponsor alone isn't enough, even when doing other step work, when doing inventory alone, may not be the thing that will allow you to stay sober. Nothing works better than working with other alcoholics. Nothing works better than the two things that it gives me. Well, it gives me more than two things, but the main two things that it gives me. Number one is it lets me stay in the trenches. When I'm working with a new guy, I get to see and be reminded and feel what it's like to be new. It's almost like I get to feel what it's like to be new again without having to be new again, which is powerful for me because alcoholics typically have really good forgetters. Earlier on in the book, it says that we can't bring into sufficient force the suffering and humiliation of even a week or a month ago, that I will start to think that, well, it wasn't that bad. And keeping me in front of new people and being reminded what it's really like to be new is a powerful piece of medicine. But the other thing that it gives me is it gives me connectedness and it gives me gratitude and it gives me usefulness. In the 9-step promises, it talks about that feeling of uselessness will slip away. That feeling, the feeling that myself and that many people that I've talked to felt when we were new, when we were struggling, that I'm not worth nothing, that my life has no point, that I'm worthless, I'm a smudge, a waste of skin. The air I breathe would be better spent on somebody else. But that working with new people takes that away also. So it keeps me connected to the problem and it keeps me plugged in to the solution. One of my favorite little ditties or poems, I don't know where it comes from, I think it might be American Indian, that it says that I sought myself and I couldn't see, and I sought my God and he eluded me, and I sought my brother and there I found all three. And that working with new people is what will keep me sober. It works when other activities fail. This is our 12th suggestion, to carry this message to other alcoholics. You can help when no one else can. You can secure their confidence when others fail. I was lectured at and pointed at and finger wagged at and told what a loser I was. And I knew all those things. No, nobody that was ever mad at me gave me any new information. You couldn't shame me into sobriety. I, but when somebody came to me that was, as the book says, probably armed with the facts about themselves, when somebody said to me, "Look, man, I don't know about you, but this is who I am. This is what happened to me. This is this is what I felt like." That identification, that feeling of commonality, that brotherhood, allowed me to listen to them, allowed me to feel like maybe there is hope. So you can secure that confidence when no one else can because you've been in their shoes. Remember, though, it says, remember, they are very ill. Those of us that have sponsored people, and I'm going to jump out on a ledge and say it's most of the people on the meeting, we've had a guy we sponsor come to us and complain about members of Alcoholics Anonymous, right? Complain about the people in the meetings, complain about the people in the fellowship, the people in the home group. We had a business meeting for my home group last night, and boy, you could see the squirminess on the faces of some of the people as we talked about certain items, right? And it always makes me laugh when people complain about other members of the fellowship because we're in a room together. And the reason we're in the room together is yeah, our drinking, but boy, once we've been here for a minute or two, we come to an agreement. And the agreement is that the root of our trouble, the symptom is our drinking. Alcohol is but a symptom. The root of our trouble is selfishness and self-centeredness is the root of our trouble. So you're in a room full of people who, by admittance, have said that they're selfish and self-centered. They don't really care about anybody else. They only care about things going their way, right? They're consumed with self. Not only them, right? Not only all the other people in the room, but me too. I'm driven by that stuff. But I judge the people in the room when they act selfishly. I get mad at the people in the room when they become self-centered. And so my sponsor would drive me to this line all the time, and he'd say, Sheldon, make sure you read that last line in the first paragraph on page number 89, and you go get the book and remember they are very ill. And we have to remember that. And that all of us are in different stages of recovery, and all of us started from different places. One of the things that we all have to remember is that you may have the same amount of physical time in the room as the man next to you or the woman next to you, but he or she may have done a deeper, more intensive go at the steps than you, or you than them. Or maybe you've both been hand in hand, moment by moment in the work in the steps, but maybe they started from a position further down the scale than you did, that we are all on this journey together, but that it is a private and personal journey. It is a journey that we do individually by ourselves in a room full of people on the same journey. So it's important that we remember they're very ill. But this is beautiful, that if we will do this, the book promises that life will take on new meaning. Take on new meaning. My life felt meaningless. My life felt empty. It felt horrendous. It felt empty. It felt like I was going nowhere, doing nothing, had no value. And that it is true that my life has taken on new meaning. I, I often think to myself when I've had moments of sadness or depression, as I do, my life is full of ups and downs. That at the times where I feel the most disconnected, that it would be impossible for me to say that my life has had no meaning, that I am surrounded by people that I've sponsored, by men and women that I haven't sponsored, but that I've had some effect on their life, that by being an active member in good standing of Alcoholics Anonymous, I've brought good influence to my family and friends and workmates, that my life has become a life full of meaning. Life will take on new meaning. To watch other people recover, to see them help others, to watch loneliness vanish, to see a fellowship grow up about you, to have a host of friends This is an experience you must not miss. We know you won't want to miss it. Frequent contact with newcomers and each other is the bright spot of our day. To watch people recover, to be active in someone's life as a sponsor or just as a close friend, and to see them come in with the gray skin and the shoulders down, looking at the ground and broken and to watch God work in their life, to watch the transformation that happens here. It is easier for me to see God work in your life than in my life. It is so miraculous. Boy, I've heard I can't even tell you how many fifth steps, but it's a lot. Not every time, but sometimes you'll do a fifth step and you'll actually see God work in someone's life in the middle of that. So, so profound, so dynamic to see that happens. But other times it's just, you'll have a guy in your home group and a couple of years will go by and you'll be talking to him and all of a sudden you'll remember what they were like when they came in. And my heart gets filled with such joy and it is such to see God's power, whatever it is that you think of when you think of God, and we all think of something different. And I don't have an organized religion. I have my own bizarre take on what I think this power is that runs the universe. But to see the evidence of it is so amazing when that happens. And then to watch them help others. These selfish, self-centered people, these guys so locked in self that they can't see past their next tragedy. It's amazing when you're sponsoring a guy. I always think to myself that we're making progress when a guy's phone calls goes from, how they start, right? You don't believe what she said, or you can't believe what my boss is doing, or did I tell you about my mom? And then all of a sudden the phone calls start to become, hey, sponsor, I got a question for you. I'm sponsoring this guy and he said, and you go, man, now he's getting it, baby. Now we got a shot. Now I can see that recovery's really taking place. To watch them help others, to watch loneliness vanish. And I think that one of the things that we all suffered from, when we talk about what our bottom is, not the material bottom or the physical bottom, but that spiritual and emotional bottom, the one thing that I think we can all agree that we suffered from is that sense of loneliness, that feeling of anxious apartness, that feeling that we are separate, we are different, we are alone, we are nobody loves us, nobody could care, we don't know how to love anybody. And to watch that vanish in them and in ourselves is one of the most beautiful miracles, the early miracles that happens in Alcoholics Anonymous as we recover. To see a fellowship grow up about you, to have a host of friends. This is an experience you must not miss. You know, again, things you don't hear much in Alcoholics Anonymous anymore, but in the meetings I used to go to, they used to say there are no musts in the big book. And I think that was from people that had never read the big book. There used to be a little card that people would give out, and I don't know if the number's right, I never checked, but it would say 57 musts in the big book. And this is one you must not miss. I have an interesting experience that many of you may share. I'm asked to share my experience, strength, and hope at conferences, at live events from time to time. And as you know, at those events, typically there's a receiving line when you get done speaking. And invariably in that line, there'll be someone coming towards you and they got the look on their face and you never know if they're going to attack you or cry on your shoulder, right? But sometimes Sheldon, I'm sober X amount of years, almost as long as you, longer than you. I'm sober 29 years, so this guy might have 10, 15, he might have 35 or 40 years. And the conversation goes something like this. It says, Sheldon, you seem like you've got so much passion for AA. And I don't know what happened. I don't have that passion anymore. And what is it that I'm doing wrong? And what can I do? What can I do to get that passion back? And I usually ask them a couple of questions. The first question I ask them has nothing to do with this topic, but it is one of the questions I ask, and I ask them where they're at in their amends. And invariably, I get an answer like this. Well, I made a few of the big ones, but I didn't really make all of them. I mean, I don't see the point in picking old scabs, and we seem to be fine anyway, and blah blah blah. And I always encourage them that there's a difference between making all of your amends and making all of your amends but one or two. But then the second question I ask them is, how many guys are you sponsoring? And the people that I meet that don't have passion for AA, the people that I meet that are getting bored in the rooms, the people that I meet that are just kind of existing in Alcoholics Anonymous, it's almost without exception. They're not sponsoring anybody. Well, I'm too busy. Well, I understand. Well, I mean, I used to do that, but I leave it to the new guys now. Okay. Well, nobody's asking me. Nobody's asking me is my favorite one of all. Like, what do you think's going to happen, right? You're sitting in your home group and maybe you share, maybe you don't. But at the end of the meeting, if your group's like my group, we always say, if you're willing to, we suggest you get a sponsor tonight if you don't have one. If you're willing to sponsor, please raise your hand. And guys and gals sometimes think that there's a guy in the room that has looked at them and have thought, well, I think that guy could probably save my life. I hope he raises his hand at the end of the meeting. And when you do, they go, oh my God, I have to run over there and touch the hem of the garment of the great guy in the third row, second seat in. That's not what happens. Nobody approaches you. Nobody comes up. Nobody, very rarely. And when they do, and you give them your phone number, they don't call. So how do you get them to call? What do you do? And I have learned over the years a very powerful and kind of dangerous way to get them to call and get activity with them. And what I do and what I encourage the guys I sponsor to do is what it says in the big book, and it's talking to the new man when it says this. It says, when we were approached by those in whom the problem had been solved, which implies we have to do the approaching. We have to find the new guy in the meeting. And when I approach that guy, I don't offer to be a sponsor. I mean, that's like asking a girl to go to bed on the first date. I mean, if she says yes, you're not going to have a second date, right? I mean, you got to go a little slow. And so I just ask, do you have a sponsor? Oh, you do? Great, wonderful, no matter who it is. Even if I think, oh my God, that guy's going to kill him, I just go, great, man, that's wonderful. And if he says no, I say, well, look, you know what? I'd be happy to help you any way I can. Any way I can assist you, I would. Let me give you my phone number. Grab your phone, put my number in your phone. And when they do, here's the magic. I say, let me get your number so when you call, you're not an unknown name, unknown number. I just won't answer it if you're not in my phone. Let me load you in my phone. And so I load them in my phone. And now it's AA trickery. Because now the next day I call them. Hey man, just wanted to check on you, see how you doing. And what they may say on the phone is, oh, I'm fine. And they may get you off the phone as quick as possible. But here's what happens. When you hang up the phone, they think to themselves, oh my God, he cared. I can't believe it. Somebody actually liked me. Somebody was interested in me. Oh my God, this is ridiculous. And you do that to 10 people, you end up with one sponsee. It's magical. It's magical. But this is something that you won't want to miss. And these guys that I run into in AA that have no passion, a flat, almost boring reaction to AA, they're never sponsoring anybody. I tell you the other thing too, and this is kind of a side thing, but those of us that go to hospitals and institutions and that go to treatment centers and detoxes, if you ever see a guy in there that you've known from the meetings or a gal you've known from the meetings. I've done this. And you go, hey man, I'm sorry you're here, but I'm glad you're here. I'm sorry this happened, but I'm glad you're getting to start again. And if I can help you in any way, let me know how I can help you. But then you say this. You say, but I want to make sure that I'm helpful in AA. And when you get out, please call me. But in the meantime, let me get the number of the few people you were sponsoring so I can let them know why you've been unavailable and maybe offer them some help in the meantime while you're in here. And they always look at you like, there's nobody to call. If they've been sober a while, then maybe that guy that's sober 5, 10 years that but there's no new people. There's nobody in the middle of the first five steps that you need to call. So this sponsoring people is so amazing because it works when other activities fail. That's the number one thing. And it's also the joy of living. It's where we get this amazing experience. Frequent contact and frequent contact with newcomers and with each other is the bright spot of our lives. And isn't it true, those of us that are active, you're at the grocery store or you're running around town and you see someone from the meetings and you may not even talk to them, but you each give each other that wink, that knowing smile. It's almost like if we had a secret handshake, right? That it just kind of centers you. It just kind of centers you. And then the next thing that the book goes on to now is where do we find these people? And some of this doesn't really apply much today. Remember, the book was written in 1939 or written in 38 and published in 39. And so at that time, there wasn't the amount of opportunity to find newcomers as there is today. So Bill writes, perhaps you're not acquainted with any drinkers who want to recover. You can easily find some by asking a few doctors, ministers, priests, or hospitals. They will only be too glad to assist you. But today, if you want to do 12-step work, I'll tell you that in most parts of the country, there are underserved panels. There are underserved treatment centers and halfway houses, and the jails are radically underserved. And I'm not saying anything you don't already know. You guys know this. Just find your local H&I panel. They usually meet once a month at the central office. Go to that meeting, and those people will tell you what's needed, and you'll be able to help. It says, don't start out as an evangelist or reformer. Alcoholics Anonymous is about attraction, not promotion. We're not out there trying to pull people off of bar stools. Bill tried that in the early days, and it didn't work. Unfortunately, a lot of prejudice exists. Especially today, and it's funny that he writes that all these years ago, because today it's very hard to find someone that hasn't been to meetings, right? I mean, I get excited when I meet an AA virgin, that the guy that's never been to detox, never been to treatment, never been to an AA meeting, doesn't have a brother or an uncle or somebody else in the program. I mean, oh my God, it's a unicorn, for crying out loud. Most of the time, we meet people that have had contact with us. This might be there may be some spiritual arrogance wrapped up in this. But I believe, and I bet my life on it, that even though they've had some experience with us, that they haven't completely given themselves to this simple program. That if they had, most likely they'd be sober and they'd be on the journey with me. They'd be at the detox bringing in the panel, not at the detox having the panel brought in, right? That their prejudice is because they've never been all the way in and sat all the way down. But we don't want to scare them off. Our job is to be welcoming. Our job is to have love and compassion and kindness. Our job is to present Alcoholics Anonymous in a way where they would want to come and join. And there is a lot of prejudice that exists. You'll be handicapped if you arouse it. Ministers and doctors are competent and you can learn much from them if you wish. But it happens that because of your own drinking experience, you can be uniquely useful to other alcoholics. Again, because of this identification, because I've been where you are, because there's that old story, you've probably heard this before. It's cute and I like it, about the guy that falls in a hole and is in the bottom of this hole and it's too steep and too deep and he can't climb out and he's in this hole and his mom walks by and he goes, help, help. And mom looks in the hole and goes, I'm sorry, kid, you're in the hole. It's terrible. She cries a little bit and then she makes him dinner and throws it in the hole. And he eats the dinner, but he's still in the hole. And a little later, his dad walks by. Dad, help. And his dad goes, oh my God, son, I'm so sorry you're in the hole. And his dad throws a couple $100 at him. And now he's got a full stomach and a couple $100, but he's still in the damn hole. And then a doctor walks by, doctor, help me. And the doctor throws a bottle of pills at him. And now he's got a full stomach and a couple $100 and a bottle of pills, but he's still in the hole. And then the priest walks by and the priest prays at him. And now he's been prayed over, fed. He's got a bottle of pills and a couple $100, but he's still in the hole. And then the alcoholic walks by and the alcoholic jumps in the hole. And the guy goes, have you lost your mind? Now we're both in the hole. And the alcoholic laughs and says, yeah, kid, but I've been in this hole before. Follow me. I know the way out. We are uniquely qualified to help because we have suffered from alcoholism. But it says to cooperate and never criticize. We are so this is one of the mistakes that I've made so many times it's embarrassing, and I do my best not to do it now. I am sometimes an invited guest in a hospital or a treatment center. An invited guest in their home. They've allowed me to come in. And when I share about Alcoholics Anonymous, I talk about their program in a negative way. I talk about their program. I'm not a fan of medication. If I get a guy out of treatment, once he's out of treatment, I'll give him my opinion. But I'm in their facility, and I'm talking bad about their program, about their methodology. I'm a guest. How dare I? So we never criticize. To be helpful is our only aim. I'm just trying to be a servant. I'm just trying to be helpful. When we discover a prospect for Alcoholics Anonymous, find out all you can about him. That's so funny, isn't it? I break all these rules. My favorite thing to say to a newcomer is, take the cotton out of your ears and put it in your mouth. Sit down, shut up, and listen. That's not what the big book says. It says that I should find out all I can about him. Make him feel like he's important. Haven't we not felt important? Haven't we felt like nobody cares about us for long enough? Find out all you can about him. If he doesn't want to stop drinking, don't waste your time trying to persuade him. My sponsor used to say, trying to persuade a drunk to stop drinking that doesn't want to stop drinking is like trying to teach a pig to sing. It wastes your time and annoys the pig. There is no value in it at all. We can only help people that want to stop. If you don't want to stop, don't stop. You might figure it out. I don't know. You know, we get this weird arrogance like we know people's future. I'll tell you, since I've been in AA, I can't tell you how many thousands, tens of more, I don't know how many thousands, many thousands of people have come to meetings, gotten their life back together, and then we don't see them anymore. And I assume they're all dead. Maybe not. Maybe some of them are having good lives without meetings. That's not my deal. I wouldn't want to do it, but I don't know what the deal is. So let a guy do whatever he wants to do. Besides, you may spoil a later opportunity. Remember, we said a lot of prejudice exists. I don't want to be the one to create the prejudice. If you want help, I'm here to help you. If you don't, it's cool, man. I mean, not in like a, it's cool, man. The way I say it, it sounds like I'm being pejorative. I don't mean to. What I mean is that, you know, I'm here to help if you want help. And if you don't, hey, I mean, I want you to have the life you want to have. And I want to help you if I can help you have the life you want to have. And I don't have any opinion beyond that. This advice is also given for his family. They should be patient, realizing they're dealing with a sick person. And that, I think, is where I need to stop for today. So thank you so much for listening to me.